Hello and welcome to another tutorial from CamiPaige Boutique. I'm Brooke Tannehill and today I'm going to show you how I made this fall leaves vinyl wrap and pinstriping custom epoxy tumbler. As always, all the products I use will be listed in the description below, and you may even find a coupon code or two that saves you some coin. Also, come join our exclusive Facebook group where you can take advantage of upcoming freebies and giveaways that you aren't going to want to miss. So without further hesitation, let's go ahead and get started. So I was so excited because I got a fall box from Miss Trina with Diamonds and Dust, and so I was happy to showcase some of the printed vinyl that came in the box. So this was a super cute print that had these beautiful just autumn trees on them with little leaves all mixed together. So what I did is I measured the cup and I cut about a 3-inch stripe of the printed vinyl, and then I'm taking my ultimate decal guide right there that you see from CamiPaige Boutique, and I'm marking off a straight line so that I can line up the vinyl perfectly and get it straight on the cup. So you can see there that I have the line already started. Then I'm going to pull back a little bit of the backing of that vinyl, cut off about 1 inch, and then use that straight line to line up the vinyl. So really, the ultimate decal guide makes it so easy to get the vinyl on straight the first time. So I just make sure that everything's lined up perfectly. Then I just pull the backing up a little bit, and then I'm going to use my squeegee to push down the vinyl as I move it around the cup. Here you can see I am also using my cup Cradle from CamiPaige Boutique. I absolutely love this thing because it keeps the cups in place and I don't have to worry about it rolling all over the place while I'm doing this kind of vinyl wrap. Once I come to the end, I just take my X-Acto knife and cut the excess vinyl off, and then it was time to tape off the top and bottom of this vinyl and move into the next step. So here I am just using the cheapo painter's tape. This isn't anything special. I believe this is the 1-inch painter's tape. And I am just following the top and bottom lines of the vinyl and just taping them off. I'm doing this because I want to protect the vinyl from getting any paint or glittery goodness on it. So I just tape it off. And actually I want to add that this cup was fully prepped before I applied the vinyl. And I did that because I knew I was going to be glittering and painting the stainless steel. So it was prepped before I moved into this step. Here I am using Miss Lillian's No Wax chalk paint. This color is Bay Seasoning. I absolutely love this orange because it's so vibrant and I feel it's like the perfect fall orange. Like it's a pumpkin orange, it's a fall orange. So I'm just going through and adding a very nice I want to say even, but it's hard to get in a perfectly even coat around the entire surface of the cup. Now, this paint has self-leveling properties to it. So when you're painting around the cup, you can just, it's not going to show the paint strokes. So you're going to get that flawless coverage with this chalk paint. And we sell it on the CamiPaige Boutique website. So you can go ahead and head over there and check it out. This paint dries on its own in about 10 or 15 minutes. But because I was on a live, I am hitting it with a heat gun just to speed up the process. Because I'm extra, I went ahead and I did a second coat of the paint. You obviously do not have to do this. I honestly was kind of second guessing myself after I started the second coat because I had already had pretty great coverage. But I'm just gonna come in with the base seasoning again and just give it that nice second coat so we have flawless coverage when we move into our next step, which is glittering. Now, to apply the glitter, you guys, if you've watched any of my previous tutorials, you know I am all about that epoxy method. But here I am using Artistry's glitter glue, and I have to say I'm extremely impressed with this stuff. I have been an avid proponent of epoxy method, but the glitter glue gives me this same coverage and it dries a lot faster. So I really, really, really recommend the Artistry glitter glue if you haven't tried it. But I applied it to the bottom part of the cup, and then I came in with this, and I'm gonna say it, I'm gonna go ahead and say it, the perfect fall glitter from Diamonds and Dust shop. And I will definitely list this glitter below in the description because I absolutely love it. I'm then gonna come in with another coat of the Artistry glitter glue on the top section of the cup, and then fully coat it with the cider glitter again. So I don't think I mentioned the name of the glitter, but this is called cider, and again, it's from Diamond and Dust, and I just absolutely love it. It's got golds in it, some oranges, and I even want to say like a little bit of brown. So this is really one of my favorite fall glitters out there. I highly recommend you go grab it. But I just applied it over the rest of the surface of the cup, let this dry for about 45 minutes, and then I spray sealed it twice with Rust-Oleum clear gloss spray paint, and this baby was good to go to the next step. Always remember to pull your tape. It's the most satisfying part of this process, and it's always nice to see crisp lines, especially when you're dealing with the crisp fall leaves. Yes, I know that was hokey, but I had to say it. I didn't record the 2 coats of epoxy that I put on here or my sanding process because I've done that in a couple of other tutorials, so I will link those below. But what I did is I cut out this textured vinyl from the Vinyl People, and I cut this out at 1/8 of an inch wide. So the reason why I'm telling you how wide it is because I came in with the brown glitter vinyl that I'll show you in a second at 1/16 of an inch wide. If you do the division, so you divide 1/8 and 1/16, it will give you the decimal point that you need to use in Design Space. But what you want to do is you will insert a square in Design Space, unlock the constraints or the proportions. It's like a little lock above the sizes, and then you'll type in 0.125 for the 1/8 of an inch, and then I make these 11 inches long. Now this cup is a 30-ounce fatty, so you're going to need the full 11 inches. I actually almost did not have enough vinyl because this cup was so big around after it had the coats of epoxy on it, just to make sure it was smooth. But that is how I do my pinstriping, and that's kind of the sizes that I typically use for my cups. So with the textured vinyl, I am laying that down, and because we know that our vinyl is straight, I am just following the lines of the printed vinyl that we had already laid down. So I'm going to put the textured vinyl down first, then I'm going to come in with this beautiful brown glitter vinyl that I had. I believe it's from Vinyl Fun, but I'm going to confirm. You can find all of the vinyl that I used below in the description. And then it was time to start our decals. So this SVG is actually from Fabrica, so I will list that down in the description below, but I just cut this with an offset, and again, I use the exact same vinyl that I used on the striping, and I just cut the inner part of the offsets with the dark brown, and then I cut the textured vinyl on the back. So what I'm doing here is I'm using actually the backing of the first decal that I used, and I am putting the decal on there, and I'm moving around the transfer tape until I get it lined up. Then I'll pull that extra piece of backing off and push it down, and it lines up perfectly every time. I'm then gonna come in and start to apply the decal to my cup. Now, there's something I wanna call out. I did not do a coat of epoxy. You can see here that my cup is still sanded. And typically my recommendation is that you do a coat of epoxy if you're going to do striping, and then you come into the decal. But I'm gonna show you my little hack that I think works even better and saves a ton of time. So you can see I got my decal all laid down, and what I'm doing is I'm really pushing it over the striping. And what's gonna happen is you are going to see where the striping and the decal overlap because it's going to push the decal up. I then take my X-Acto knife that you see here, and with a super sharp blade, I outline the offset of the decal. Not the stripe, but the offset of the decal, and I just cut the stripe to match the outline of the decal. I hope that makes sense. And then I just push it down. What this does is it allows my decal to lay perfectly flat, and I don't have to do the extra step of a coat of epoxy so that my decal's not all wonky and have like the parts of it folded up because it's overlapping the striping. So I feel this is it's a great hack, and it allows you to get that like professional look with your decals without having to go through the process of epoxy. So here on the S, I'm just following again the outline of the offset. Then I'll lift up the decal, pull the striping off behind it. So the brown vinyl like to stick to the back of the decal more than the textured. So I just pull it off. So you can see there, pop it off. And then I'm going to push the S down, and you're never going to know that there was striping behind it. After that, it is time to sand our rim. So this is a 120 grit flap wheel from Dremel. And I want to call this out because this is a question that I get quite frequently. When you buy a flap wheel, it will be perfectly straight. It's not going to have those indents in it. You have to earn the indents with sanding a lot of cups. I get that question quite often, so I did want to call it out. But after I hit it with the flap wheel, I just come in with my 80 grit sanding block and I just sand those edges nice and smooth so there's not a hard lip. Then after I was done with that, I felt like the cup needed just a little extra, just a little bit more to it. So here I just have 1/2 inch masking tape. And again, like I'm pretty sure that my lines are lined up. So I just took that masking tape and I'm marking off a 1/2 inch from that top stripe that you see there. So I'm just following the stripe and just kind of marking this off. This is my hack because since I wanted to add the stripe and instead of cutting the stripes all at once and just applying them with transfer tape, I'm going to use the masking tape as my guide. So I'm going to line my stripe that you see there right up to the masking tape and just go around the cup. So this way I have a guide to know that I'm getting the spacing as even as possible around the cup. Something else I want to call out is please make sure, I feel like it's best practice to line up your seams. So you can see there that all of my seams are lining up because I'm starting my stripes at the same spot. I think it's just a nice added touch to where you have all of your stripes at the same spot, and it kind of gives a defined back to your cup, so to say. So I just think it's like kind of the best thing to do to line up your seams as much as possible. I know it's not always possible, but I recommend it. So you can see I applied my gold stripe first, and then I'm going to come in with the brown glitter vinyl. I know you can't tell that it's brown glitter vinyl, but it actually is. It's got the most subtle little glitter to it. I just absolutely love it. And I didn't know I had it, so that was even better. But I am just finishing the pinstriping, and I'm going to follow the same process up top. But I loved to share the little hack of using the masking tape to do the lines because you can see I get really great spacing, and it's just for those times that you change your mind and you want that added little bit of detail. I'm just going to follow the same process on top of the printed vinyl as the bottom. So I'm not going to film the whole thing because I think you guys get the point. But I hope this tip is helpful, and I'd love to hear what you guys think of it. After all the vinyl work is done, you can bet your butt that I sealed this vinyl. So just because it's layered vinyl, that there's just multiple textures to the vinyl with the textured vinyl and then the glitter kind of glossy vinyl. So I am using Quick Seal from Artistry Epoxy, and I've got to tell you, I am really falling in love with this product. I love how thick it is and the coverage it gives me over my vinyl. It prevents any lifting, and it dries really quickly. I could typically go into another coat of epoxy probably 30 minutes to 45 minutes later, and due to the magic of video, that is exactly what I'm doing here. So I'm going to come in with 2 coats of about 20-25 milliliters of epoxy, let that fully dry between coats, and then this baby was done. I absolutely love how this cup turned out, and it's giving me all the right fall vibes. I hope this tutorial inspires you, and I can't wait to see what you create. If you have any questions about any of the steps or information, please feel free to reach out and I'll be more than happy to help. As always, thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me. If you like this tutorial, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you can see future videos. You can also ring the bell so you are notified of all future cup making goodies. Thank you again. I love you guys. Bye.